I was able to find that painting that we talked about when we did the Etchr Holiday Gift Box unboxing video a couple of weeks ago. This is an 8x10 watercolor painting that I did for a past Etchr Holiday Giveaway back in December 2022, where I did the Etchr Llama disguised as a horse pulling a Christmas sleigh. I thought we'd use this for inspiration on making our watercolor Christmas card on the Etchr paper and cards that we got in that holiday box. The 300 GSM 100% cotton paper, using those 7 iridescent watercolors that we also swatched on the swatch card. I also thought we'd try swatching these colors on some black Stonehenge multimedia paper so we can see if this pearl white color will pop a little more and stand out, and see how these other 6 iridescent colors will work on a darker paper. Welcome to Country Boardwalk Studios. I'm CB Mack, a multimedia artist who enjoys making my own art supplies for plein air painting, urban sketching, and to use here in the studio. So let's go check this out and see if we can make this painting into a Christmas card. All right, boardwalkers, we've got ourselves set up here with my Etchr 19 well ceramic palette with my ultimate color palette choices of the My Merry Blue watercolors. We've got the red holiday Etchr palette with our 7 iridescent watercolors that we used in our, that we swatched on our white card here that you can see, with our colors in it. And remember I said that we had a hard time seeing this pearl color? I've got some black multimedia paper here that we're going to use to swatch these watercolors again, these iridescent ones, so we can see how they all look on this black paper. And we've got our reference photo here, our 9x, I got something on my paper here, the 9x12 inch inspiration for our watercolor card that we're going to do with the Etchr card here. We've got the Etchr card. We're going to make a smaller version of it. We've got the Etchr envelope. Now this is like a cardboard envelope. It's super thick, so I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to watercolor any designs on it like I do my smaller, my other Strathmore watercolor cards. So first I thought we would, let me move this one over and set it up over here so we have it for reference. And I'm going to put the card over here with this color choices. Now I'm going to go through here with this gel pen real quick, And I'm going to label these colors real quick. The royal gold, if my pen will work. Let's see, we got the ruby over here. It's not showing up really well. It's struggling today. We may have to hold off on labeling it. Or, nope, I just got to pump it. I forget that I have to pump this to get it started first. Okay, there's our ruby. Then we're going to do our pure gold. And our satin bronze. Our jade. Our copper. And we've got to remember to stir that copper. Let's see, the pearl. We'll go here. Now I've got this double side because I've got, like I said earlier, I do have a set of iridescent colors that have a blue and a few of these other colors like the Etchr ones, and that iridescent set is from Winsor & Newton. So sometime later I will do my Winsor & Newton set here, that way I can see what my colors look like on all the different, the darker paper and the whiter paper. Let's see if I can get this to work a little bit better on that R. There we go. All right, now I've had these watercolors pre-dripped except for the copper. I forgot about the copper to do our swatching on. I've got 2 sets of clear water here still. I've got my number 12 silver black velvet and my number 12 Princeton Neptune. I've been using the Princeton Neptune still for like putting down clear water. And I have really been enjoying using this silver black velvet, especially with its nice super fine tip. All right, so let's do a swatching of these colors and see what they're going to look like on the dark paper here. We've got our royal gold is right here, if I recall. I'm trying to look at my card here to see how many over. Let's see, is that royal gold or is that pure gold? That's the royal gold. Okay, yep, that's my royal gold. And our pure gold is this one. Ooh, now that one's harder to see on the black paper there. Let's see if we can put some more color on it, see if that'll help. All right, see how that is harder to see on that darker paper? That's interesting. All right, the jade. That is going to be nice. Get all that glitter out if we can. That's the only thing about iridescent paints when I use them, is the amount of glitter that still stays in them. Oh, that red looks nice on there. It's just a hair harder to see though. But it's on there. All right, let's do our satin bronze. Where's our satin bronze? Right here. Now that satin bronze is going to come across that paper just lovely. We're not going to have any trouble seeing that one. Oop, I'm dripping on my paper already. Okay, let's stir this copper up. Make sure we stir it up. Because remember last time it separated on us and we didn't have it. It was just pooled up on it. All right. Oh, the copper is nice. That one's nice too. All right, you can see that one really well. Now, the main reason we were putting colors, those look really nice. You can see them better when they dry. Like the ruby, you can see it much better now. The jade is still a little bit damp. Let's try this not purple, goodness, the pearl color. And see how that one is going to pop now. Excuse me. How that one's going to pop. Oh yeah, see, that pops a whole lot prettier and sparkly. That is much better on there. So these iridescent colors will work a little bit better on this paper. Okay. There is the pearl, if you can see it. And let me put it up with the other one on the white paper. That makes a whole lot of difference on our paper here. Definitely a whole lot of difference. All right, so I'm going to set these colors up to the top here and let them finish drying out of the way, because we don't need those anymore. And we're going to get started on our holiday card here. Now, as I was saying, this was a painting that I did back, as you can see, in December 2022 for a previous Holiday Etchr giveaway contest. I don't remember what the theme was or even what the prize was, but you can see our little Etchr Llama right in here with his ear, the shape of our llama, and all I did was added a tail and some horsehair mane to it and had him as a one-horse open sleigh painting. And I thought that'd be a lovely painting to try to do. I cannot sell this artwork because it has the Etchr Llama in it. but I can make holiday cards for my family members and that. Now, we're going to take this drawing and make it go into the space here in the bottom. And what I've done is I have pre-drawn this on my card because of the perspective. And I will have a picture of this drawing in the front of the, if you go back to the front, there'll be the section where I have this pulled up for you guys to use. You don't have to do all the bars and protective stuff on this, but your llama is fairly easy to draw. It's a couple of rectangles and a few triangles, a square, or actually it's a quadrilateral shape on our painting and drawing. I'm going to grab my pins, the llama pins, so you can see the shapes. I meant to have those set out here already. There's our Christmas one. But the basic shape for the llama and the way they've designed it is really simple to draw. It makes it really easy to draw that or to draw any other creature. Now on this one, I have put the mane for the hair and the tail, and I've added our little Christmas hat on it. And for our trees, I did just little bitty arrows and very narrow triangles just to give me an idea of where my trees are in the placement, and then the lines underneath for the shadows that we're going to put in. You don't have to get as complicated with your sleigh. The sleigh is the hardest part on this, I think, to draw. And your lines on your reins don't have to be straight. They can be wiggly or very loose and bowed. The line that you might need to keep very straight would be the one where the harness comes around the neck and it connects the llama to the sleigh. And if you noticed, I kind of used the outlines of the llama for the harness, since it's pre-drawn, and the same way with the halter that would go across the nose and for the reins to connect. So that gives you some looseness on there, but it also gives you the correct placement on it. Now I'm just taking my kneaded eraser and I'm going to take off some of this pencil so that my graphite is not picked up on the brush as much. And I'm just tapping it because I just want it to pick up a little bit of that graphite, but not too much, so I can see where I need to put my paint. All right, so we're going to start with this is my ultimate palette, and we're going to start right here with my ultramarine blue. I want that to be the sky. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to wet my paper, pre-wet my paper, because I want it to go gradual. So it's okay if it's dark to start with and then work its way down with my brush. Now you can use wet and wet technique if you'd rather use that one. But as tiny as my sleigh is, I'm really worried about the paint moving too fast. And overlapping my sleigh here. I don't know if you can tell, but the glitter from the water is kind of picking up on my ultramarine here. So it's going to give it a nice little background. Now, some of this I want dark in here. And so this is going to help using this dry brush, wet on dry technique, because some of my paint, as you see here, will be heavier and make it look shadowy. And it's going to be all right if we have some of these rough patches here, because that's going to give some texture to my painting and my snow. See how I've got different values in here of the paint? So it will work to our advantage. It's going to be all right. It'll all work out. Now, and we're leaving some white spaces because we do want to have it look like there's a little bit of snow in there. If I can get that in there. There we are. Lift that out. Bring it all the way up. Slowly work around that white pom-pom of the hat. Now, and then we'll just do a little bit right here in front of this. Make that a little bit stronger there. Now that will give us enough variety in our icy snow. And you can see just a little bit of that glitter and shimmer in there. Now for our llama, I think we're going to go with a royal gold on the llama. And just follow our lines. We'll do him in a royal gold, because he is a little royal character, I feel like. His regal royalness. Get his little face on there. Just a hair more color. There we are. Now, we can use our pure gold for his harness and for the gold around the pure gold around his harness. And the dot on his reins. Now this is dried a little bit, but because these paints are iridescent, they're not going to flow quite as much. They'll flow a little bit, but not too much that we can't get that control in there. All right. I think we're going to use the copper for the inside of our sleigh. Got a bit much water on there when I went to rinse my brush. Across the back of that chair. And leave that little bit of detail there. Across the side of that arm. Okay, and then I'm going to use the copper for all my braces. All the bracing parts on our sleigh. I'm just going to drop those in. That's why I like this brush, is because you can see what fine detail I can get. With this silver black velvet, it just makes such nice tiny lines. I love it. It's really fantastic. All right. Sharpen that up a little bit more in here. See if I can sharpen that up with my detail. All right, let's see if we can get these pieces on our reins a little better. A little more color in there on that close one. All right, now for our rails, we're going to go with, I think we're going to go with a satin bronze for the rails of our sleigh. Ooh, yeah. All right, there's that. And then we're going to do the, where is it? The edge of our sleigh. Get that to keep going. Come on. Come across there. Across the bottom edge there. And then this edge that goes along the border. So I'm going to do that whole back cushion on the top in the copper. I mean satin bronze. I'm sorry, my satin bronze. All right. Ooh, that water is sparkly. All right. We're going to let that dry for a bit. And I'm going to hold it up so you guys can see what we've got. Now you can see that background is nice and dry. It's dry to the touch. So while we're letting the llama and the sleigh parts dry, I'm going to go in here now with my green, my sparkly green. And I've got these other greens here that I might throw in to give some added difference in the branches. And of course we're going to have to leave some gaps so we can have some snow in there. So I think I'm going to use some green gold first and just put some tree color in there and just tap it down in there. Make sure to leave you some space for your snow. Your pieces of snow, and you make it as wide as you want. The more paint you have on your brush, the more the value. And the smaller the tree at the back, the further that tree will be away. And you're just tapping and dabbing and dragging your brush across. Okay. That'll give us a nice little golden green color to it. Now we're going to let that dry before we put our jade color on. And let's go back in here and let's see if we can add some red to our sleigh. See if we can get some of that red in our sleigh. Get it to look more solid. There we go. It's a lot harder to paint this tiny one than this bigger one that we did. But with this nice fine tip on this brush, I'm able to get in here and get where I need. I'm noticing I left a gap in here where my blue snow should be, because that's part of my reins on my darken this up some more. It's almost looking kind of pink to me instead of red. There we go. All right. Now we're getting in there. Get the bottom of this sled. Just a hair darker right here on this spot. Come on. There, now we're looking like a sleigh. Now we're looking like our sleigh. There we are. Okay, and I think I'm going to use a little bit of my primary yellow for this seat in here. to finish that one up. And then we can use our jade again to make our little Christmas wreath on the front of our tree, along with putting it in on our tree here, on our background trees. And that's going to add some nice sparkle to our tree here. Now, I have forgotten to put the little red hat in. So let's do our red hat. We can't have a Santa Claus llama without a hat. And let's add some little ornaments to our trees back here, maybe, to incorporate this red just a little bit in another section of our painting. So there's like little decorated trees back here, just a little bit for a festive mood. Okay, and what I may do is I may go in here with just a little bit more of a darker bit of green. Get some ultramarine blue to darken that up a little bit. I want just a, there we go, just a hair darker green color to it. With my ultramarine and my sap green. Just a hint of dark in here to darken some of this up. I'm going to just add a little bit of darkness in here on the bottom and across some of the top. And then I can add some tree stumps to some of these. And that just gives it a little bit more variation on our trees back here in the back. All right. That looks a little more like it. And a little more green on our wreath here. Rinse my brush. Now I need to do some red in the center of our wreath because I forgot that that is where our there we go. Now it looks like it's placed on our sleigh a little better. Okay. I need to put an eye on our reindeer. Put a little more red ornaments on this tree again. All right. Do my reins up really good here. Let me see if I can find, let's do our bronze up. Get that to flow. There we go. And have our reins coming down over the back here. Of our sleigh. Over that bar. There we are. Okay. And I think we've got to put some hair on him. Let's use our pure gold for his tail hair. And get that going if we can. Come on. There we are. There we go. A little better now with this flow of that. And feather that out. And then put just a hair bit coming off the back of his neck. There we go. See if we can get that to, there we go, flow a little better. There we go. Now it's looking better. Make it a little wispy. And a little bit out the front. There we go. All right. Put our dot for our eye. We were at the part of getting the eye on and double checking. I think I just got one more little dot to put on. Also on the front of our, well, if I can get my point just right. Get this circle on here. Well, come on, paint. Get on there. My paint is just not wanting to. There we go. Let's see if I can get a slight circle there for that. Darken up this circle over here. And maybe a slight little touch and wisp of paint on this part. Okay. Put our bars on, make sure those are all connected. Put the lines across the seat. There we go. On that back section. And now I think all we've got to do is grab my P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. Get a little bit of water on there and dip that in there, and let's see if we can poof up this white pom-pom here a little bit. Make it look like it's sparkling a little bit more than what it is. And then put just maybe a little bit of snow in here across our trees. And guys, I think we're about done with this Christmas card. This probably taken me a little bit longer than I thought, but when you're working tiny, sometimes it's harder and it takes longer than it does the larger art sometimes. All right, there we go. I'm liking that. And there we have our Etchr inspired Christmas card that I will be sending out to my family member who loves getting the Etchr paintings that I do, the horses and llamas, for my daughter. Let me set this brush down. Let me hold this up where you guys can see this a little better. I think that turned out pretty nice. And these Etchr cards are really wonderful. It says Etchr Sketchbook 300G cold press paper, 100% cotton and vegan friendly. I really love this paper. It is really nice. I will put a link to the Etchr Holiday Box Set that we unboxed a couple of weeks or so ago. Any of the art supplies that I use, I'll put whatever affiliated links I have there. And if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and put those down in the description section below. I do enjoy reading each and every one of your questions and comments, and I try to answer all those comments. I do believe this is probably going to be my last video for the year. So, look forward to starting the new year. And I think for the new year, I'm going to be doing some, I know we still have to review those Tibetan nibs. And I will probably do a video on my texture kit, all the different tools and techniques I use for textures, maybe coming up. So don't forget to hit the thumbs up, like button, share this video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Goodbye for now.